Of the new Motorcycle News Superstock series, and this really promised us to be an interesting and exciting race. Mick Grant, of course, the winner, there to the left of your picture, and next to him Steve Parrish, who was second fastest in practice here. Roger Marshall, who was second in at Brands, is third quickest, and joining them on the front row of the grid will be Mark Sal and Keith Hewan. So, some interesting, well-known names on some rather interesting and unusual motorcycles. Of course, production racing of one kind or another has grown all over the world, particularly in America, whereas superbike racing, it's actually ousted Grand Prix-style motorcycles from their positions on the racetrack. Peter, you're a man who's ridden production bikes from time to time. Are you pleased to see the way it's going?
Yes, I think it's a great thing. I mean, it will bring all the forms of motorsport all over the world together, I think.
So, the red flag is up and away they go. A clutch start, and it's Keith Hewan. Keith Hewan on the outside, number 16, who's got a super start. Number 6, Steve Parrish in the middle of your picture. Mick Grant, number 10, and Roger Marshall. And it's Steve Parrish who's made the break. Steve Parrish and Keith Hewan first and second, and we see around Redgate that modern road bikes are, well, not too bad at all on handling as the pack charges down Craner curves with Steve Parrish out in front. Well, Steve rode this bike at Daytona. He's done an awful lot of racing miles on it, so he knows exactly how it works and handles as the pack charge through all sorts of bikes there, Suzuki's, Hondas, Yamahas, absolutely everything you could possibly think of. And it's Hewan there in your picture, bike number 16. I think he's in second place. Roger Marshall is number 11, because out in front is Steve Parrish. There's the race leader, Steve Parrish, number 6. On the Yamaha, well, knee out, it's an all-action style, because these bikes don't handle quite as well as racing bikes would, but they're quick, 150 miles an hour, and they handle well enough indeed. Steve Parrish the leader at the moment, Keith Hewan in second, and Roger Marshall third.
Well, we already see Mick Grant up into fourth place, the pole position man.
So at the end of the first lap, it's Steve Parrish, number 6, number 11, Roger Marshall, 16, Keith Hewan, and number 10, that's Mick Grant. Grant, the winner of the opening round of this championship. There's Hewan. And Keith was having regular daily contacts with his new mechanic, New Zealand mechanic, when he was in South Africa, watching the progress of this bike being built as Parrish leads the charge. Marshall is second, Hewan is third, and Mick Grant, well, good old Mick Grant, 40 years of age, could be father, in fact, to some of these lads, giving away 20 years to some of them, but going strong, the winner of the opening round at Brands Hatch yesterday, and Michael Grant from Lempton Grange, near Huddersfield in Yorkshire, in fourth place at the moment and looking good. He was fastest in practice on the Suzuki. This is an 8th lap race. They're on their second lap as Roger Marshall on the Honda gets closer. Keith Hewan on his Yamaha, and then Mick Grant on the Suzuki. So we've got a nice variety of bikes out in front, and it looks as though Keith Hewan loses third place to Mick Grant with a very fierce and positive piece of overtaking there, Peter.
Yes, he certainly took Keith Hewan's line, didn't he, as they approached the braking marker.
So, 2 laps gone. Steve Parrish, the race leader. Roger Marshall is second. Mick Grant now in third place. Keith Hewan in fourth position. And 6 laps to go then. No change in the leading 4. Bike number 6, that's Steve Parrish. And Roger Marshall, though, getting ready with the charge. Roger Marshall, who was second in Brands, looking for the outside line. But Parrish is on the better line, and Marshall has to ease off for a moment. But Marshall can't take too long, because Grant is getting closer and closer. Steve Parrish finished 5th in the opening round at Brands yesterday. You could see Mick Grant behind bike number 10. He's getting closer. Grant on the Suzuki, so it's a Yamaha leading a Honda, leading a Suzuki. 750cc road-going bikes, open exhaust, racing tyres, but very close indeed, Peter, to production machines.
Yes, they're all the 4-cylinder 4-strokes that you can buy to ride on the road. They look very similar, and all that's been changed are things like the brakes and a bit of the suspension.
And here comes Granty again. Grant is through to second place. Same overtaking manoeuvre as before, and they all go very quickly to the chicane. Roger Marshall almost lying the bike on Mick Grant, but Grant is the new second-place man. It's Parrish the leader, and he does the old imaginary jockey job, and so does Roger Marshall. More speed, they say. Parrish, number 6, the leader. Number 10, Mick Grant in second place. 11, Roger Marshall is third in third spot, and fourth still Keith Hewan, but Keith really at the moment little more than a spectator.
And all these bikes are putting out about 100 brake horsepower, but Grant, that's the second place man, number 10, is a little bit lighter and comes out of the corners better. As we see Marshall nip inside Grant. Number 11, Roger Marshall nipped inside number 10, Mick Grant.
And the fine overtaking manoeuvre there by Roger Marshall. You can see the bike bobbing and weaving there. But Marshall hangs on to second place, but that mistake forced Grant to ease off a little bit. And in the ensuing confusion, Steve Parrish has managed to extend his look. And look at Grant. Well, he almost looked as though he got another gear there. But Marshall's not giving in. Marshall's on the wide line, knee almost on the tarmac. Hewan's catching them now. Well, it's a four-way dice, and certainly Keith Hewan will be delighted with this. And there goes Mick Grant almost pushing Roger Marshall as they go down the back straight. Well, they're coming up to the halfway stage now. 4 laps gone in this 8-machine battle. 4 laps gone, 4 more to go. Parrish, Grant, Marshall and Hewan. And Hewan is very much in the picture now. Well, I think Keith was just sounding things out, and he looks as though he's going to go through into third place. And 1.18 seconds the gap between first and fourth, so just over a second separating the first 4 men as they go out through Hollywood down into Crater Curves on this, the 5th lap. And Grant looks as though he's ready to pounce. Steve Parrish has led this race throughout, but any minute now Grant is going to make the challenge.
And note the very contrasting styles. It's only Grant, the second place man, who sits upright on his machine. Everybody else hangs wildly off because these production bikes do run out of ground clearance when fitted with racing tyres, which allow extraordinary angles of lead.
So Grant, number 10, he's in second place. Behind him, Roger Marshall, number 11. Fourth is number 16, Keith Hewan, but the man in front is number 16, Parrish. But Grant's pulling out of the slipstream. And Mick Grant has a look, sideways look at Steve Parrish. He's going to let Steve go through this time, but he's just shown his hand a little bit there. Parrish hangs on. It's the end of the 5th lap. 3 laps to go. Parrish, Grant, Marshall and Hewan. And Hewan is also quick coming out. And Hewan goes through into third place, but Marshall is back on the inside line. I think Marshall will regain third spot. He does. Parrish, Grant, Marshall, Hewan. And it's now 3/4 of a second, 0.75 of a second between first and fourth. Well, who could ask for a better television debut for this class of racing? And Marshall seizes the moment. Mick Grant just dozing a little bit. I suppose poor old Michael nodding off a bit at his age. Parrish up, still there in front, but Marshall now in second place. Grant is third, and it's possible that Michael might find himself back in fourth spot because Hewan is pressing hard there in fourth place.
These bikes, of course, both physically heavier than the Grand Prix machines the men usually ride. They're heavier to steer, but of course they have the wider, bigger handlebars, which means that the men can wrestle with the machines easier than they can the small clip-ons, as Grant goes back into second place.
Well, I think Michael was fooling with them because I think his bike is the quickest one out there, Peter. And he goes back up to second place, but Roger Marshall tries to outbrake and has to ease off as Grant goes across his bows on the left-hander on the exit. 2 laps to go now. It's Parrish, number 6, Grant, number 10, 16 is Hewan going into third place, 11 is Marshall, and Marshall again goes back on the inside line and regains third spot.
Now Grant may be playing a clever game here. He has the fastest machine, but of course with 4 other bikes in the race, it's a very tricky thing to do. He can't leave it really till the last corner, as 3 other bikes could get in his way. With a one-man battle between him and Parrish, the leader, number 6, he could leave it till that last dash down towards the start and finish.
So Grant, presumably awaiting game, 6 laps gone. They're on their 7th in this 8-lap battle. Parrish, number 6, still leads on the Yamaha. Mick Grant on the Heron Suzuki there in second spot, bike number 10, just behind this man. There you can see it, virtually a road-going motorcycle, not a lot of modifications to it. Noisier, of course, than the bike that runs down the high street. So 6 is Parish, 10 is Grant, 11 is Marshall, and 16 is Hewan. And you can see there the pace of the Suzuki. Now, will Parish go through on the inside? He can't, but Hewan's up in third. So Grant is the leader. Now, Parish, of course, has always been in front. Is the Yamaha quicker than the Suzuki? Steve never had to go quicker. This is the last lap. Grant, number 10, the leader. 6 is Parish from Steeplemorton in Hertfordshire. And they're lapping in 1 minute 20 seconds, which isn't bad at all for a production motorcycle, Peter.
No, it's very, very good going indeed. And they all have 4-into-1 exhaust bikes, which, as you say, makes them louder than they are on the street, but very few other modifications. They have better brakes, and you can see them using them deep into the corners.
And Hewan getting closer. Keith Hewan there. He's not satisfied with third place. Well, I really think that it's going to be very, very difficult to pick the man who's going to win this one. Roger Marshall's back there in fourth place, and he was a likely leader or winner at one stage. Grant the leader, Parish is second, Hewan is third, Marshall is fourth. That's the order with less than half a lap to go. But Grant's got the quickest bike. I think Grant will hang on. I wouldn't like to say who's going to be second, though.
Unless Parish can do a last-minute braking manoeuvre at the chicane.
So down the back straight, underneath the ridge for the last time. Everybody flat on the tank, wringing that last extra bit of power out of the motorcycle. But it's Grant and Marshall. Look, he's going through to third. Can he? No, he's not. Hewan hangs on. It's Grant who's going to win. Is it? It's close, desperately close. Mick Grant and Steve Parish side by side. In third place was Keith Hewan and fourth was Roger Marshall. But we shall want to know from the timekeepers exactly what the judges say on that. That really was close. Desperately close there between Mick Grant and Steve Parish.
And it certainly looked to me as though Grant got it in the fraction of a wheel as they crossed the line. Fantastic stuff.
It's based on the Motorcycle News Superstock competition. This is not a championship round, but everybody's in there, and Roger Bennett came through from the second row of the grid, and they're charging and elbowing into the first corner. It's Mark Sell, number 4, who takes the lead, and the rest of the field streaming out behind them. Well, all the manufacturers well-based in this race.
But Mick Grant there, who has been the hero of Superstocks so far, well at the back of the field.
So, and Roger Burnett goes through on the Honda. It's Roger Burnett, number 9. Behind him, number 4, Mark Sal in second place. Roger Marshall in third spot on bike number 11. Then Trevor Nation on bike 21 in fourth place. And the first 4 storm into the hairpin, diving through on the inside. Oh, and Roger Marshall in big trouble then. Really big trouble as Mark Sowell threw his motorcycle across the front of him. And there's Roger Burnett, number 9. He's pulling away. And look at Mark Sowell closing the gap on Roger Burnett. Trevor Nation in third place now. Well, Burnett's lead just absolutely gobbled up there by Mark Sowell, number 9. That's Roger Burnett, the young man from Oulton up in Lincolnshire, a near neighbour of Roger Marshall and a teammate in the Rothmans Honda Britain squad, out in front. But Mark Sowell closes right up, and here they are in a gaggle. Burnett out in front. He's got a clear track and plenty of room. Mark Sowell is in second place. Trevor Nation, then it's Steve Parish in fourth position. Well, look at them, 4 abreast in battling for second place. Trevor Nation now up into second spot. Roger Burnett, the race leader. Trevor Nation. Then that looks like Mick Grant. Mick Grant, in fact, further down is Roger Marshall. My apologies. Roger Burnett, Trevor Nation, Mark Sell, number 4. Well, in fact, that's not. That's Martin Taylor, I think, who's in second place. Looked a little bit, very much like Trevor Nation. In fact, we'll get it right finally. It's number 145, and that's Mark Boughton. Well, Mark Boughton, the young Londoner, the London car dealer, looks very much like Trevor Nation to me, but it's not, and he's all set to have a go at Roger Burnett. Mark Boughton, private entrant, helped by London Industrial Services and Slipstream Motorcycles, a privateer, and he's battling right out in front in this Superstocks race. He spent a whole day here on Thursday at Oulton Park trying to get the bike sorted out, and he's chasing this man, Roger Burnett, the the factory Honda rider, bike number 9, and behind him, bike number 145, Mark Boughton, former Suzuki factory rider, now back in the ranks of the privateer. And there's a whole bunch breathing down his neck. Mark Sally's in 3rd spot, but there's Mark Boughton in 2nd place, and he's holding off the factory men. Roger Marshall moves through. No, Graham McGregor through into 3rd place now. They're swapping and charging about, but there is Roger Burnett still holding a comfortable lead. Mark Boughton is behind. Graham McGregor is there in 3rd position. Roger Burnett, Mark Boughton, bike number 145, then number 17. That's Graham McGregor on a Suzuki. So it's Honda leading from Suzuki and Suzuki. Well, this is Roger Burnett's best ever ride, and Graham McGregor sees a gap. Mark Boughton leaves a little bit too much room, and he's pushed back to 3rd place. Well, Graham McGregor took a real heavy tumble here in practice on Thursday, so McGregor knows that you've got to treat this Oulton Park circuit with a great deal of respect. McGregor number 17 second, Roger Burnett number 9 leading, 145, Mark Boughton is 3rd. This is the 3rd lap in this race. There's number 17, Australian Graham McGregor, started his racing career as a sidecar passenger before he came over to Europe, borrowed a 350cc machine from George Beale at a Brands Hatch meeting and made a big name for himself. And Graham McGregor looking as if he wants to make a name for himself here. Roger Burnett leads, Graham McGregor is 2nd, Mark Boughton is 3rd, Roger Marshall is 4th, Steve Parrish is behind him. Then it looks as though Mick Grant has moved up behind him, and look at McGregor, number 17 on the Suzuki, closing on the inside, looking for the gap, and is he through? No, he's not. Has to ease off. Graham McGregor poised to charge through, and he's through. Graham McGregor takes the lead at the end of the 3rd lap. Burnett's not having any, though, side by side, and Burnett has to ease off. Graham McGregor had the better racing line, and Mark Boughton there under pressure from Roger Marshall, and Boughton will not be pushed back. What a brave bit of riding there by Mark Boughton. 17, Graham McGregor is the race leader. Behind him is number 9, Roger Burnett. In 3rd spot is Mark Boughton. 4th is Roger Marshall.
And now McGregor, he has a clear road ahead of him as we watch Steve Parrish dive up the inside of the group behind, but McGregor on the oil-cooled Suzuki getting away now as Burnett comes under pressure from Marshall.
So Graham McGregor leads, Roger Burnett there, then Roger Marshall, Mark Boughton. There is the race leader, number 17, Graham McGregor, an Australian engaged to Neil Tuxworth's sister, about to settle down and face it up. Oh, and here is this group, a tremendous scrap for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. Graham McGregor in 2nd place, then Roger Marshall looks as though he's about to swoop on Roger Burnett. Steve Parrish is there. In fact, Marshall has got through. Marshall now 2nd, Roger Burnett is losing 3rd place. Steve Parrish, number 6, goes through into 3rd spot. Parrish on the Yamaha. Roger Burnett pushed back to 4th position. Then it's Mick Grant and the privateer Mark Boughton having a superb ride. So McGregor from Marshall, there's number 11, Roger Marshall, Steve Parrish, then Burnett, then Mick Grant, then Mark Boughton, and behind Mark Boughton is number 144, Martin Taylor.
And these, of course, are all road-based machines, all capable of well over 135, 140 miles an hour, generating some 100-plus brake horsepower, but using racing tyres and racing exhaust bikes, but still based on the bikes that you can buy in the showroom.
And Steve Parrish pulls alongside and overtakes Roger Marshall. And the Yamaha of Steve Parrish just scorches past the Honda of Roger Marshall. Well, Bruce Cox, the man who brought this series alive this year, his idea, his project, and Bruce Cox has made an excellent new series for British race fans. What a superb race we see in every round of the MCN Superstocks series. This is not a round of the championship, it's just an invitation challenge, and these men are rising to the challenge. Graham McGregor leads, Steve Parrish is in 2nd place, in 3rd spot Roger Marshall, 4th Mick Grant. fifth is Roger Burnett.
And the Suzuki now out in front. These are proved the best machines of the series so far, as McGregor, number 17 on the Suzuki, leads Steve Parish on the Yamaha. Roger Marshall trying very hard on the Honda. The Hondas have been down on power, but as Marshall said, the only thing to do is ride it like an animal, and that's what he's doing, chasing number 6, Steve Parish. So that's Parish on the Yamaha, chased hard by Roger Marshall, number 11.
And less than 4 seconds separating the first 7 men in this superb dice. We're looking at second and third place men, number 6 Steve Parish and Gary Lingham on the Myers Yamaha. He's pulled out of the race, end of the race for poor old Gary Lingham. So Gary Lingham out of this one. This is Steve Parish, number 6. He's in second place. There is the race leader, number 17, Graham McGregor. As I say, took a heavy tumble in practice here. Steve Parish, then Roger Marshall, number 11. He had a go to get back at Steve Parish, and Roger Marshall is not the sort of man to give up without a struggle. McGregor, Parish, Marshall, Grant.
That's Hewen in 4th place now, actually.
It is indeed. Keith Hewen has come up. We've been identifying Mick Grant as Keith Hewen. Well, my apologies to Keith Hewen, because what a week Keith Hewen has had. And Keith Hewen, who couldn't get the bike started at the beginning of this race, in big trouble. So it's McGregor, the race leader, Steve Parish in 2nd place, Roger Marshall in 3rd spot. In 4th position is Keith Hewen. And let's just talk about Keith Hewen a little bit as he strives to catch that leading trio. Keith Hewen in 4th place. It was his birthday yesterday, and in a space of 3 days, Keith Hewen has had 1 spot. He's had 1 van crash, 1 motorcycle crash, and 1 car crash in 3 days. He had trouble getting the bike started, but Keith Hewen is back in the hunt in the biggest possible way, and he's in 4th place, and we're watching for the dice for the lead. Graham McGregor and Steve Parish, and Parish is right with him. Steve Parish, he proved that the Yamaha is a very quick motorcycle.
And the Suzuki, a better handling machine. Parish having to really wrestle the Yamaha. He said it was going all over the place in practice, and you can see there are various points of the course where the Yamaha will come off the road and weave markedly.
And so this is a dice for the lead and a dice for 3rd place as well going on. McGregor, the leader on the Suzuki, Parish behind him in 2nd place. In 3rd place is Roger Marshall, and behind Roger Marshall is Keith Hewen. So McGregor, Parish alongside him. Parish looking for the way through. They're on their final lap. This is the 8th and final lap. There's the dice between McGregor and Parish for the lead, between Marshall and Hewen for 3rd place. And Parish is looking over McGregor's shoulder. The final lap, the 8th and final lap, McGregor, number 17, stretches a lead, but Parish will pull it back on the braking going into the hairpin. Half a lap, they're closing up on some tail enders now. McGregor on the Suzuki leads Parish on the Yamaha, and McGregor leads from Parish. Behind, it's Roger Marshall trying to hold off Keith Hewen. What a superb MCN Superstock series this is. McGregor, and Parish is there with him. Parish is going to make the challenge somewhere. He's only got 2 or 3 more corners, and it's just as desperate behind. In to Druids, the short straight underneath the bridge to Lodge, and Parish has got to do it very soon, and Keith Hewen is through. Keith Hewen is through to 3rd place. Marshall and Parish goes through on the inside. He has the better line. Can he hold it? No, McGregor swerts on the Suzuki, and Parish is there. Parish is going to win, I think. Steve Parish has timed it perfectly. They charge for the line, but Parish by a wheel. Parish by a wheel from Graham McGregor, and Keith Hewen and Roger Marshall almost side by side as they went through. We'd have to wait for confirmation of that. Well, that was absolutely superb, and we get a chance to see this overtaking manoeuvre from Steve Parish. What an excellent battle. McGregor, the race leader, he thought he got it in the bag, but then Steve Parish on the Yamaha came from absolutely nowhere, pulled through, and fine ride by Steve Parish. and a chance to see it. They come into the final corner, which is large, and Parrish goes through on the inside. McGregor again comes out quicker, winds on the power sooner, but Parrish holds him as they go over Dearsley and on to the checkered flag and the finishing line. So, just to repeat the result of this race, the winner, Steve Parrish, number 6, there he takes it on the line. Second, number 17, is Graham McGregor, and behind them in third spot just was Keith Ewan, with Roger Marshall a fraction of a machine's length behind in fourth for this 8th